This episode is brought to you by Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Everything is more exhilarating when you're on your motorcycle. Just like your bike is more protected when you choose Progressive Motorcycle Insurance. They offer coverage for your bike starting as low as $75 per year. And they keep things affordable, with discounts like paid in full, multi-policy, and responsible driver. So raise your kickstands and get to quoting at Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Premium is for state minimum liability coverage and excludes state fees and taxes. Rate not available in Massachusetts. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
So the Blazers didn't make it to the playoffs again this year, and what started off as a very promising season has fizzled away into yet another disappointment for fans. Today on CityCast Portland, we're talking with sports photojournalist and the co-host of the Shooting Hoops podcast, Dia Miller. She's here to break down what exactly went wrong and if this is the season that finally makes Damian Lillard want to leave us for a better situation. It's Wednesday, April 19th. I'm Claudia Meza, and this is what Portland's talking about. Dia, welcome back.
Thank you. It's always fun, even when the team isn't.
Oh man, as you know, I'm not like the biggest basketball fan, but I've been following because of our conversations, and I want you to know that I have been sad about it, but like for people like you. Like, you're the fans, like, I'm like, this season started out so strong. Like, what happened?
It did, and that's been my thing, is getting to this point and we're not in the playoffs after starting the season like 10-4 and thinking, like, I think we talked about on here before, I legitimately thought at the beginning of the season, this is it. This is the year we win.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I think that almost every year, regardless of the team.
Right.
But I really had a little bit of hope, and it felt like we just slowly crashed and burned, and it was slow and painful.
Yeah.
And I say this all the time, but like on paper, this team looked like it was going to be really good, and they had so many moments of greatness where you're like, oh, this is what they can do. Like, this is the potential, but then it just didn't play out that way.
Like, tell me, I'm sorry, I'm going to make you relive something. Tell me the last game they played. Tell me what they look like. Like, what did you feel when you saw everything just, like, all the wheels fall apart, from this moving vehicle?
By the time we got to the last game, our injury report was longer than our available. Like, we had so many injuries, and, anytime a team is essentially tanking, which is basically what we did, I think there were 14 listed on the injury report. Now, some of those were probable, some of those were questionable, but 14, like, that's your whole roster.
Yeah.
You have to have 8 dressed to play. So they're having to pull guys up and give 10-day contracts and things to get this team to be able to even set foot on the court. And I don't think all of those were serious injuries. I think a lot of them probably could have played, but it's one of those things where it's like, why are we going to risk, Damian Lillard's health, or Nurkic, who, we've dealt with injury before? Why are we going to put him on the floor if we're not going to go past the next game? But yeah, it was unrecognizable.
Yeah. By the end of it, all the top guys were like not even on the court. And you pretty much explained like why that was, is they all knew like, we're not going to make it, you guys. We're not going to like, okay, the worst thing is like, we don't make it. And then like something happens to Dame.
Yeah. We don't want to push through these games that don't matter, essentially, and end up with, not making the playoffs, and our team is hurt. Like, for real hurt. That's never a good situation. So I get it. It's one of those things that's hard because you don't want to see, like, I, as a Portland Trailblazers fan, I want to watch Damian Lillard play as much basketball as possible. Mm-hmm. I want to see that. So it's always hard. And especially I think with the year he had where he could have gone for the scoring title. I think watching him have the kind of year he had and then have them...
Yeah, he broke like 2 records, right?
Yeah, he was breaking all the records.
That's so sad. He was breaking all the records. The team ended with him not even playing, towards the end of it. Did you hear there was like this rumor or like kind of murmur about the Blazers purposefully tanking the record to get better draft picks in the future? Yeah. I mean, is there anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a thing. They do that. People do that. We actually just heard that the NBA is fining the Dallas Mavericks for that exact thing. They, $750,000, so $750,000. The team is getting fined because they sat Luka very loudly. They basically said, we're going to play him for the first 15 minutes and then we're shutting him down for the season. It makes sense because if you're for the Trailblazers, we'll talk about the Blazers since that's who we're talking about. They're coming up to the end of the season and we have guys that we could make a run with if we can make some roster changes. But we're coming into the end of the season and we're not going to make it into the playoffs. And if we do, it's going to be because we barely made it into the play-in, and then we're going to have to fight for our lives to make it out of the play-in and into the first round. And then you're going to be already exhausted from that. The likelihood that you're going to even make it out of the first round is not great, but you're definitely not going to make it to the Western Conference Finals. So at that point, what is the point of going to the playoffs? Do you do that? Do you try to just make an appearance? Or do you pull back a little? Do you sit those guys? Do you give them rest? And essentially you're tanking, you're letting your team lose, and it puts you in a position where you're more likely to get a higher draft pick, which then you can use the next season to either build a younger team, or what we're likely going to do is trade that for talent that's already established.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure.
But I mean, what does the front office, do you think, need to do this summer to bring these guys back? Because I can't imagine the team is happy.
Yeah, I mean, in the exit interviews, Dame was very clear about the fact that he does not want to be on a team that's rebuilding. He doesn't want to be on a team that's drafting in guys and using those guys and training them and building up an eventual team. He was clear that he didn't want to be in the middle where they're just kind of where they've been, where they're kind of, in this middle ground of do we rebuild? Do we go for it? What do we do? He was very clear that he wants to win.
Yeah.
I think this summer is going to be very telling. I think if they don't get it together this summer will be 2 years of this new front office. They're going to have to figure out, they might have to be creative to get those pieces to put around Dame, because they're going to have to use what we have to try to get that. And it's a big job, but they've got to do it. This summer is make or break it.
Yeah, so the best possible outcome would be to actually get players that are at the level of Dame into the team.
Yeah, I mean, you hope, or at least around that. Like, you want guys that have experience. You want guys that are going to come in and complement Dame. I'm a firm believer in the fact that you don't have to bring in a bunch of superstars. These super teams don't always work.
Right.
You have to have the right talent. So I do think that they could potentially get creative with this and bring in some guys that maybe everybody's not throwing out there and still be able to do that. But hopefully they can get some talent that, that's established, that are starting players as it is, that aren't, 6th, 7th, 8th guys. We need guys that are going to come in and fill out that starting lineup.
All right, let's take a quick break here. When we come back, let's talk about the probability of Dame packing it up for a better team.
Hi, this is Jennifer Lopez. Every day is another chance to be more than yesterday, to do more, inspire more, create more, and give more. There's so much more you can be, and it's all waiting for you. Choose more and stay hydrated with Body Armor Light.
Hydrate like Jennifer Lopez with Body Armor Light, with no artificial sweeteners, zero sugar added, and low calorie. Get Body Armor Light today on Amazon.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Everything is more exhilarating when you're on your motorcycle. Just like your bike is more protected when you choose Progressive motorcycle insurance. They offer coverage for your bike starting as low as $75 per year. And they keep things affordable, with discounts like paid in full, multi-policy, and responsible driver. So raise your kickstands and get to quoting at Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Premium is for state minimum liability coverage and excludes state fees and taxes. Rate not available in Massachusetts. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
So do you think if they're not able to build this roster, do you think it's the time that Dame finally leaves us?
I think that's just such a hard question. I think that conversation is going to circulate until Dame retires.
Do you know what it is? I feel it's because we don't think we deserve him.
I don't even think it's
I think
that.
that's what it is.
I don't even think
just like, he's going to leave, isn't he?
I truly think that at some point, this whole like story of loyalty came into play, and then everybody started hounding him with, but how loyal are you, essentially? And it's just become this constant storyline that won't die. And I just think that until the day that man retires, he could announce that it's his last year in the NBA.
And we'll still be like, is he going to go somewhere else?
Yeah, are you going to stay in Portland halfway through the season? Are you going to finish out the last? Like, we're going to be hearing this until the day he retires.
Oh, it's so funny.
So I don't think that we necessarily have to win a championship next year for Dame to say like, hey, yeah, I'm going to stick around. But I do think we have to be making moves. I think we have to get significantly better. I think we have to make the playoffs. I think we have to be making moves around him continually, not just saying, okay, we got a guy, go out there and play. We're going to just sit here now. Like, I think those things have to continue to happen. I think as long as they're making actual strides to do that, I don't think Dame will leave. I think the point at which he leaves is either when the franchise says, hey, we're not going to do this anymore. We're going to rebuild, which we saw them do when Clyde was there. I think at that point, Dame might say, okay, it's okay to trade me. Like,
all I'm hearing is that we need to keep him. That's all I'm hearing, that we just need to like keep working on ourselves and maybe he won't leave. That's what you basically said.
I mean, I think that's a reasonable. Isn't that what we do in relationships?
That's what I'm saying. I'm just like, that's all we're talking about. We're just like, okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to go to the gym every day. We are going to learn how to listen.
Right.
Maybe we don't listen so well.
We got to get better. We should always be working towards improvement.
And then Dame won't leave us.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, I wanna ask you just real quick. I know this is a tough moment to ask you this, but what were the highlights of the season for you? And when you say this, just know that I will possibly play like really sweet, just thinking back music, just nostalgic, like these were the days. All right, go on.
Honestly, we had some good highlights. I would say that this was arguably Damian Lillard's best year, which I think says a lot about him because going into this year, there was a lot of talk about, well, can Dame play the way that he was playing before, having had surgery, being 33, I think, years old? Can he come in and play the way that he did? And I would go as far as to say he came in and played better than he did. I don't think any Blazer fan this season can say that the highlight of him having a 71-point game was not a highlight of the season. I think breaking the team scoring record, surpassing Clyde as the highest scoring Trailblazer, I think that was a highlight. But then I also think we have to talk about Shaedon Sharpe. Shaedon Sharpe, who was our rookie this year. It's been a while since we've had a rookie that's come out the gate like Shaedon Sharpe did. And I think he was very unknown going into the season. He didn't play last year anywhere, so nobody really knew what we were getting fully. And he came out and he balled. Like, he went at it. And I think he was really good to begin with, but I think the second half of the season, he leveled up. He's a dynamic player to watch. He's beautiful to watch. Like, his dunks are a thing of beauty. He's one of those players that you just want to see him playing.
Yeah.
Dame and Shaedon were the highlights of this season for sure.
Well,
what could have been?
What could have been? So the Blazer season, it's over. What is a Portland sports fan supposed to do now? What are you gonna do next?
Listen,
is it baseball?
Is
it baseball?
Basketball.
Are we gonna watch baseball?
Basketball.
Are we gonna all watch baseball now? Go on,
we still have the whole playoffs. Even though the Blazers aren't in it, there's a lot of fun teams. I personally am hardcore rooting for the New York Knicks. They've got Josh Hart, who was on our team before, and they're just the New York Knicks are kind of always my Eastern Conference team because I feel like there's so many parallels to the Blazers. They feel like a very Blazery team to cheer for. So that'll be me. And then as soon as that's done, we go into the WNBA. And the WNBA season is picking up. It's getting ready to start. So that's where I'll be for the next several months.
Well, thank you so much, Dia. Always a pleasure to speak with you.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get to have you again. I don't know if we'll ever get a WNBA team here in Portland, but maybe you can talk to us about that.
I have hope. I have real big hopes that because they're talking about expanding the league. And Portland's one of the places I keep hearing. So
fingers crossed. And now for your microdose of news. Governor Tina Kotek signed off on the city and county's plan for using about $18 million in state funds to address homelessness. If you don't remember, she had previously scolded both for failing to provide a detailed enough plan. Part of this money will now go towards paying for 140 new sleeping pods in the large sanctioned campsite being planned in southeast Portland. And another major Portland business says it's closing its doors because of crime and theft. This time, it's the REI store in the Pearl, which has been open since 2004. They're planning on closing up shop in Portland early next year. Stores in Tualatin, Hillsborough, and Clackamas will remain open. I know this isn't the biggest deal in the grand scheme of life, but that's a bummer. And I'm still not understanding why our police department, with the largest budget yet, is still unable to serve downtown businesses adequately. I mean, maybe we should pursue a conversation with the department? If anyone has any leads on who we should talk to there, let us know. For even more local news and events, sign up for our daily newsletter, Hey Portland. We'll throw a link in the show notes. That's all for today here on CityCast Portland. If you enjoyed this show, why not tell a friend, rate it, or leave us a review? We'll be back tomorrow morning with more from around the city. Until then, see you at Slim's.